right. We live. Yeah, it is. Welcome to, we don't call this the Grind Ad Podcast, the Who You Got segment, man. Coach Rico Lamar, a.k.a. Big Miyagi Vice, man. Y'all already know what time it is. I'm sure everybody done saw the big fight. I got a special guest in the building. Me and his brother go back 20 plus years, fellow
Day one.
pugilist in the game. And go ahead and introduce yourself, my guy.
What's up? I'm day one with this guy back in high school. We used to ball train a little bit, man.
Tell him I
But
Jay.
I'm a former amateur boxer, now turned boxing coach in my late 40s. Definitely got a lot of boxing opinion and combat sports opinion altogether. Even migrated over to Muay Thai for some years. So I'd love to get my opinion of this fight. I know I definitely have a little bit differently than you, Lamar. So
yeah. I mean, well,
we're gonna debate that right now,
and that's why we here. That's why we are here, y'all. We ain't gonna take up too much of y'all time. So, off top, real quick, you give me just to brief your first reaction to what happened.
Well,
Tyson versus your boy Deontay.
Man, I called the fight from the get-go, and I posted it online, everything, just to make sure I did it. But I'm a boxing scientist. I study it, and Tyson Fury is the real deal, and I knew it going into the fight. But also, Wilder can never be discounted out. He definitely has the power, but can he control his emotions? And that's the problem. And I think going into the fight, I watched Wilder walking in with his big costume and everything like that, and he was very tense, and I could tell his emotions were taking over, and that takes a lot of energy before the fight because our emotions are already going through the roof. And when you're walking in and you having that much emotion, it's only a matter of time before your legs go, and his legs were gone by the third, maybe halfway into the second, if you kind of see it.
Okay.
And yes, he did come out trying to box him until his legs were gone. And then he went back into his old ways of brawling, which is not a bad strategy for Wilder. That's probably his best strategy. And it almost pulled it off in the fourth. But, the IQ of Tyson Fury, his fakes, his flinches took the timing way off. Just that parry hand standing there the whole fight took his 1-2 out. And he just walked him down with that parry hand right in front of his face. He didn't have to do anything. It was already there. So the only punch from the range that they started at that Wilder had was the 1-2. There was no hooks from that range because they were too far away. And he started his fake flinches from outside range. That gives Wilder only one choice, the 1-2. Where did he spend all of his first and second round? Body jabs. Doing what from that range? Why? Doing absolutely nothing, taking away all that energy. And remember, his emotions are already halfway gone going into the fight. So after the third, fundamentals just went to shit. And now it's just running on heart.
See, I want to make sure.
And I think we were blessed yesterday with watching two warriors go at each other with just the heart you expect a champion to go out of. So I want to take my hat off to both of those fighters, giving us that type of show. Boxing needed this sport, and Tyson Fury, Wilder just took boxing back to the top. I mean, granted, I wanted to take that crown away from Jake Paul. Thank God.
Crown? See, listen, man. Let me, because I wanted to let
the money draw.
Okay. Now you done cleared it up. You done cleared it up. So check it out, man, because your boy, you know what I'm saying? I've been in the cage. I've been in the ring myself, you know what I'm saying? Trainer, pugilist. I studied, listen, my peoples will tell you, man, every night I'm just, especially when it comes to the peekaboo style, man. You dig? For me, right? Because I wanted to make sure I get a couple of your points down. And you brought up the one component of emotions. And so that's one of the pieces I did not consider. But it does make sense because, again, this game is 90% mental, 10% physical, right? Because again, you know, MMA, man, I've trained in boxing, Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestled for about 17 years, man. And the thing is, it's the same component throughout each of those disciplines, right? And so my thing is this, because I'm looking at just the larger picture of where we're at with the sport of boxing right now. And it's not just myself, just like you got a lot of people who share some of your opinions. I'm in a lot of these boxing groups, man, and you know, boxing overall has been, you know, kind of disappointing, man, over these last 10 to 15 years.
Agree.
And when we were coming up, remember, first it was the heavyweight division is a very coveted, you know what I'm saying? It was all about them big boys back in the days.
It's more business.
It was always been business now. It's always been politics in boxing. So I'm not going, you know.
We didn't have this problem when Don King was in charge. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, he said Don King. We had other problems with Don King.
Yeah, we had other problems, but
when he was in the hurt business,
but we got the fights we were looking for.
and that's the thing, man. So I'm not gonna take nothing against, you know, first of all, these guys are two warriors, man. It takes more than heart just to get in there in the first place. I think what's shocking to and this isn't just the casuals, like folks who, like you say, yourself, man, who look at the science of this shit, and to see the level, like, I ain't gonna lie, these dudes look tired by round two, but both of them were.
It's a heavyweight fight. What did you expect?
It is, but hold on. We done seen Holyfield. We done seen Tyson. We done seen Lennox. We done seen James Toney, who clearly was out of shape as a heavyweight, but he was poised. He was very slick with his shit, and that's one thing I'll give to Tyson, because I saw him. You know, I saw him pull and shit for a 6'9", brother. He definitely know how to move. And you're right in that Deontay, man, I did notice right away that he was very tight. I knew that. I'm like, damn, why is this dude? But again, that was
emotion.
Like, you had 40, but see, here's the thing. Heavyweights in the past didn't do that. You can't have 40-something fights and you still ain't figured out how to work out your emotions, man.
Yeah.
You are the top tier of the game, man. What are you doing? That's crazy.
When it comes to fight IQ, I would give Tyson up there with all those guys. Although physical ability, definitely not near on par with every single one of those guys that you had
accurate.
just mentioned out. But the fight is a mental game. And I would put Tyson Fury up there with every single one of those greats, and he will be by the time he, if not already, one of the greats. And I think last night solidified that, and especially being a trilogy between Wilder and Fury, it just solidified the fact that he is one of the best, because Wilder is probably one of the best fighters active now, if not the second best, for sure.
But what does that say, right? Because like I said, now look at the era that we're in, man. Like,
well, would you take physical ability over intelligence?
I'm gonna share this. No, not at all, not at all. I mean, as a matter of fact, the best thing about Floyd Mayweather, who is to me, you know, and again, we could go back to Sugar Ray Robinson, we could go back to everybody. I feel like this brother was really the pinnacle of the sport. Like his dude's boxing IQ was really off the chain. He was 10 steps ahead of guys, man.
Yeah.
He could walk you down. He could stick and move. Like, it damn near was nothing that he couldn't do. But I think, you know, one of his stronger suits is that, you know, one, he could change up his strategy throughout the course of a fight multiple times. Conor McGregor even pointed that out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And just his ability just to have you figured out. Once he downloads what you doing up in there, man, fight over. Right. Fight over. I haven't seen nobody to that. There's other guys that are very strategic and, like you said, cerebral. But Floyd was just on a whole nother level. So you're right in that, you know, like I said, 90% of this is mental.
Absolutely. Floyd barely ever lost a round. And because of his intelligence. No matter what you threw at him, he can adjust on the fly.
And they were little milliseconds. Guys. They were little guys.
But you know what? There's
flashes of that different style. Oh, go ahead.
Of that high intelligent level, at the heavyweight level. Obviously, because of the weight difference and physical ability, there's
Right.
going to be a much different fight with a Floyd Mayweather at that weight class. But
Right.
at the heavyweight level, you're not going to see that speed and agility, but you do see flashes of that intelligence with Tyson Fury, and the range, I think, definitely was, and timing was the main thing that won the fight with Tyson Fury last night. It was just he walked him down. He knew what range to not be hit at, what weapons Deontay Wilder could use against him at that range, and he had all those shots protected. Granted, you're going to run into some shots as you fatigue and you make mistakes, and Wilder definitely had his moments, but the intelligence of Fury definitely had flashes of that high intelligence of, the Mayweathers, the Andre Wards, and Sugar Ray Leonard. I mean,
I don't know about that.
You're never going to see that physical ability of those guys.
So hold on, we're not even talking about, and the reason we're not even talking about comparison from never, I'm looking at, again, the caliber of the overall division.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, just think about it, man. It's not,
the division is weak.
And we were spoiled. I get it. We were spoiled, man, to be able to live through, I mean, freaks of nature like your Mike Tyson's, man, and you know what I'm saying, and the Evanders, and so I get it. I guess for me, I just expect more from our top tier guys. And so Wilder
over the last 15 years, the money in the super fights has gone to the middleweight division and some of the smaller weight classes, the light heavyweight. Sometimes with right after Tyson, it went to the light heavyweight division with Roy Jones Jr. and of course Roy Jones did go up to heavyweight, but he was pretty much a light heavyweight.
Yeah, he was a small guy. Some people feel like that hurt him.
But and then it just got smaller. The money fights and all that got to the more guys with faster agility and power, mid-range power to, more boxing style and more technical boxing. Whereas you wanted to see two guys just slug it out, you want to go to that heavyweight division, but you're not going to see technical boxing. You're going to see guys in the 6th, 7th, 8th round, stumbling around and hugging a lot at that division. But that's what you came to see. You came to see two gladiators try to kill each other, and that's the draw of heavyweight.
What my thing is, when I saw heavyweight or not, now see, I saw people were commenting on Wilder's physique, not Wilder, but Fury's physique, which we know physiques don't really mean shit. We saw Andy Ruiz drop Anthony Joshua, and he looked like a machine. You see what I'm saying? So that don't mean nothing. I just had a debate with a guy who was just like, man, I'm sick and tired of these brothers losing, man, and they come out looking like this. And I'm just like, dude, that's a shallow argument, because anybody who know anything about the fight game, man, looks don't mean shit. We done seen, matter of fact, the more muscle you got hinders you in the game. You're definitely gonna gas. And see, Wilder came out ripped. He's probably a little. Didn't he come in a little heavier than what he usually is? I think he probably bulked up a little bit. And he looked, and look, now here's the thing, and this is why you can't judge by looking at folks hit the mitts, man, because I'm like, okay, cool. Wilder, man, was decent, man. I'm looking at him with his new trainer, man. He was getting him straight with the footwork. You know what I'm saying? He was utilizing that jab. But again, maybe this came down to the emotional piece. I mean, as a fighter myself, I understand sometimes when you get there mentally, once you tapped out, I don't give a damn how much talent you got, what you look like, everything goes out the window. But I guess for it to happen that early was like, whoa.
And I think it was the emotional aspect that beat Wilder. It wasn't as much as Tyson Fury. I think they were very evenly matched going into the fight. I think Vegas probably had a little too much on Fury's side, but granted, I will say this: Tyson Fury beat the best Deontay Wilder he's ever seen.
Oh no! Hold on. No, we can't say that, man. He did not. That was the worst damn Deontay Wilder, man. Come on, so you playing now, Jimmy? You playing, man? You see, you playing. You're playing, man.
You thought the first fight was fight was Deontay Wilder's best?
I think that this was the worst. Why, man? This man gassed in round 2.
Yeah.
Ain't. See, I mean, preparation. This is all part of the preparation as a fighter, brother. You know that.
It wasn't a fight of technicality, and
I guess
nobody's
that's why.
buying a heavyweight fight to watch a technical fight. It was a fight of heart and determination, and that is that Rocky story that we love to see. You know, you didn't watch Rocky because he was a technical fighter. You got it because he just took that punishment and he kept going forward. And that's that exciting fight we watched last night.
He's a fictional character too, right? Rocky would have got murked. He'd have got murdered if he was a real boxer, man. Ain't nobody taking that many hits to the head, man.
Tyson Fury's that real life Rocky right now. You know, he's that fictional character come to life in the heavyweight division.
Fury's is a likable. He's a likable dude, man. I like him, and like you said, he is a pugilist. He you know what I'm saying, he definitely has, like you said, the cerebral component to it. Like I said, I'm not trying to shit on him at all. I just feel as though they need to be, and neither one of these guys, I feel, have really been tested like that.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm following Wilder, I do not. Think about it. You get to 39-0. You 38 of them were KOs. Like, I mean, on paper, dude was a machine, right?
Yeah.
But then you get exposed in the fight before this to the point of when Antonio Tarver was like, dude, he needs to go back all the way back to the basics and fun. Dude, you never would say that about any of our greats, the Lennoxes and the Tysons. So that's why I feel like he's gotten away with a lot, and that's why it's hard for me to really judge Fury on, you know what I'm saying? Like, who were you fighting? Who were you beating? Because records don't mean nothing, you know.
There's a big gap disparity in talent level for sure from the 90s era to where it has now. In the 90s era, they were fighting like smaller fighters at the big weight class. You know, you had your Tyson who fought like Tyson? Nobody. So he was a new style, that peekaboo style.
Actually, an old school style is what it was.
It's a very old school style but there wasn't no exposure. He was the first to expose it, right?
Well, he was like the third. I'm thinking about, we had Floyd Patterson, we had Jose Torre. I mean, you know, we go back on that, but as far, like you said, as far as the 90s,
sure, yeah, he was the first to expose that style and use it as a dominant style. But the peekaboo style, the weakness of the peekaboo style is it's very energy consuming. So you've got to be in tip-top shape to be able to peekaboo.
Right, and which is your job as a professional anyway. Which is your job as a professional, because just like any other thing, right? If you condition yourself,
are in that type of shape to use that style effectively today.
Well, today, you know what? Actually, we got better athletes. You know, I mean, they probably not within the sport of boxing, but I'm just saying, we actually do. I think that, and that's one of my things too. I would challenge some of these boxers today, man, because it's such a unique style. Yeah. And once I really dove into the science of it, that's why you see me on my stories, man. I'm like, dude, this is a crazy style, man. And I hate that most guys wouldn't, but I get it because it's different from, you know, you're taught to be half a man in your traditional boxing, but with the peekaboo, you have to be a little bit more square, but that's why you got to be moving your head as you come forward.
British are known to be outside fighters, and the peekaboo is an inside game. Yeah. And you can conserve a lot of energy on the outside game.
I wouldn't expect those guys are 6'9" and 6'7", so I wouldn't expect for them to do it. In fact, I think the closest we got to, I would say, like a combination of Floyd and Tyson is Tank Davis. You know, that's a whole nother story we could get into. But he's a monster. He's a little guy.
He's a small guy that fights like a big boy. And
he's a monster.
The power and that he generates, but he's also got that low center mass compared to some of his fighters, and he's stocky. So he's got
Paul.
So the physics are with him usually against his other fighters, and he's fast. He's really balanced, controlled. His reaction time is off the chain. So he's a complete fighter. But he lacks his emotion. He fights with emotion, and I think at his weight class, I think Lomachenko still reigns supreme. I'm saying it.
No, we got to see that.
Lomachenko will go up and challenge him, but he won't take that fight.
If Tank touches his chin,
it's true.
He's
but
done.
Can he hit him?
Yes. You know what's scary about Tank? And this is just, and I'm just looking at it as a coach. Dude, we ain't even seeing half of his potential. This dude
Tank?
is free. Yeah, he is freakish, man. This dude, bro, we have not seen that at all. That's what's scary about him. I would love for him to fight Lomachenko.
That would be a super fight that I would love. All boxing fans would love to see. Unfortunately, not enough non-boxing fans know their name to make it a big super fight. And that's why the fight probably won't happen until it's a little too late in their career, unfortunately for the boxing fans, because to have that type of super fight, both fighters have to risk a lot and gain minimal a payday. And just because if you're a boxing fan, you know both of these names really well. Outside the boxing fans, I don't think they're going to have such a big pay-per-view draw like the Tyson Fury Wilder fight or anything. I think even, unfortunately, Jake Paul fights and those Logan fights will definitely outsell a Lomachenko Davis fight right now. And that's why we're not going to see that fight. I don't think I can cross my fingers enough and hold my breath enough to ever think that fight, because if I'm thinking of it as Floyd Mayweather, a businessman type thing, there's no way you would make that fight, because you would never sell the amount of pay-per-view tickets to pay that off and make it worth it, because the risk of it is too high for the little reward.
That's a whole other topic in this. Man,
we're not going to see that fight.
The fact that we're talking about, and we got somebody who's trying to join in here, man. That's kind of what I'm over here doing. We like to let folks come in and chime in. I knew we'd have a couple people who got some things to say with regards to this, man. And see, that's the thing. Is this a shit show? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just looking at this like, ain't no way, man. Ain't no way.
And unfortunately, it's getting
the
worse.
State of boxing is
better. Because now the new market is the Jake Paul stuff, the entertainment fights that are just kind of set up for ticket sale purposes versus actual technical boxing. So unfortunately, we're going the opposite way versus closer to where the fans want it to go, or it should go.
And see,
obviously, the market's going to dictate what happens, and if the fans are willing to pay high dollar prices for entertainment fights versus highly technical fights, that's what's going to happen in the future, and we're going to continue to see that type of trend.
And so, but see, that's the thing. What does that say? I guess, like you said, or like I mentioned earlier, man, the state, we've always had politics in boxing. Never thought that it would get to this point. Never thought that,
but it's happening in all sports.
Component.
And even in MMA.
Boxing is one of our older sports, man. That's one of our, boxing's been around for hundreds of years, man. And MMA is still relatively new. But you can't fake MMA, bro. Like, you get in that cage, and, you play if you want to. Seriously, you don't play games. See, boxing is a little different in that, you could go in, I'm gonna get him out, maybe, you know what I'm saying, maybe 5th, 6th round. See, you can't do that with MMA. You will get hurt. And so we got Kangaroo Jack, man, who just popped in with us, man. What's going on? Can you hear us?
How are we, fellas? Good. Everybody safe, healthy?
How you doing, Kangaroo?
I'm still trying to recover. I've just woken up from yesterday. Let's just say I had a few beers here in Australia at a local bar with about 100 other people. I got pretty drunk, that's for sure. 15 beers, I reckon I had. That's a treat we got in Vegas.
Thing you can do in Australia.
I mean, what a treat we got in Vegas! What a treat! I mean, I'd like to start off with paying my respects and absolutely honoring Deontay Wilder. I mean, when you talk about going out in your gum shield, he did not play around with that. He wanted to go out on his gum shield, and he went out. He got knocked back out, but he did not give up. He kept coming and he kept coming, and he showed a few different things that we never saw before. We've never seen in Wilder, and that's a few technical little techniques that he's been working on. Probably didn't have long to work on it, but at the end of the day, there's no shame in losing to arguably the best heavyweight in the world. Well, we're not arguably the best heavyweight in the world. There's no shame in that. But I tell you what, Wilder is a warrior. Like, that guy he would not go down. I was like, how is he not going down? Fury was bombing him with some rights, and those jabs were just like, they're not even jabs, are they, Fury's, when he throws that jab? Are they even jabs, or are they like a Kronk jab? They're like a right hand.
And you know what? I'm going to say this because, again, as a coach, I'm looking for things, right? So when we talk fundamentals, we're talking about slipping. We're talking about footwork. We're talking about pivoting out. We're talking about just regular ring generalship that any pro should have. So my issue is that all of that was missing. And we're talking about a top tier heavyweight. And I'm gonna tell you something, and this is the thing I noticed, right? And I commented on the post yesterday. Whenever Fury would even gauge him, whenever he would gauge Wilder, he will back up with his chin up. Yes, you're gonna get caught. You're going to get caught. So that to me is boxing 101. So I don't know, Jimmy, like you said, man, from the beginning. And again, I'm not taking nothing away from Fury, man. He's already proven what that he can get in there and do his thing. But I kind of question, because just the caliber of it all. Like, he was supposed to knock that Wilder out from what we saw. Yeah, I mean, he gassed in round 2.
Yeah,
Well, go ahead,
he walked
Jimmy.
him down effectively, though.
Go ahead.
He took shots. He took shots, but remember his parry hand was very effective walking him down. He just literally walked him down with his parry hand in front of his face and caught the good majority of his power shots, walking him down, and then made Wilder pay. Unfortunately, you're not going to walk him down every single time without getting hit eventually, and that's what happened with Wilder. But Wilder eventually found him with a couple shots and dropped him in the 4th, and maybe was close to dropping him after that a few more times and caught him. But for the good majority, I would say almost all of his walk down shots, it was usually shots that he was already in range that Wilder landed that was effective. It wasn't walking him down that made Wilder effective. It was after Wilder and him started exchanging shots that Tyson Fury took the most punishments.
Well, I'm I'm from Adelaide in South Australia. I'm a heavyweight. I'm an amateur boxer as well. When I was under 17s, 18s, I won 2 state Golden Glove title belts, state championships. Haven't done much fighting since I've turned 18. I'm 21 now, but because fighting men is different to fighting guys my own age and size. So when I was younger, but I've had a few amateur fights against heavyweights. It's completely different. But I love the sweet science of the sports. Sweet science for me is just massive. I mean, and I look at it with Fury. We've all got to remember, Fury came into this Wilder fight 2 and 3 wanting to get wet. Do you understand what I'm saying? He wanted to turn it into a brawl. We all know Fury is a slick boxer. He could outbox you off his jab if he wants to, because he'll come in and do that. We've seen it against multiple fighters. He has that ability and ring IQ to beat a guy off the jab, to lean on them, to lean on the ropes, to grab them, hold them, and all that. He's very good at that. Fury, I rate Fury with that. But I think, again, like you said, it's about, you wanted to see a few different things from Wilder, like, slipping the jab, or you wanted to see him bounce around a little bit.
Basics.
Just have, don't be flat-footed. Don't be flat-footed. Always be busy. Always be busy.
What did you guys expect going into the fight? Wilder has never been that type of fighter. He's never been a technical fighter. He's never had good footwork or any really good mechanics. He's been a brawler his whole career.
That's
and
my
probably
point.
the
He
best
got
brawler.
away with that shit, though. You got away with that. Why? Because of the weakness of this era of heavyweight boxing.
Definitely.
And Jimmy, I don't want to, because I know you got to go. I know you got some things. You had 30 seconds here, man. And I know you got some other obligations to handle.
Yes, I do have to go.
On that. But we definitely gonna have Jimmy back on, man. The Who You Got segment, man, and as well as the Grind Ass podcast too, brother. You know, got a
thank you for having me, man.
So you know what I'm saying. We got to have my long time homie come back, man. And so y'all got the MGK concert to get to, huh?
Well, not me, my daughter.
Okay. Well, all right, brother, man.
I'm more. You ain't gonna see me at no mumble rapper show. Come on, I'm 40.
I know that's right. But MGK got bars though, man. He
got bars. I get some bars. Respect. Hey,
all right, brother.
Thank you for having me. I love your podcast. Keep it up, Lamar, man.
Well, you know we Big Miyagi over here. All right, man.
Thank Big Miyagi. Thank you, man.
See you, Jimmy. All right, Dave.
So yeah, we got my man's D here, you know, Lojik Reazon, a.k.a. D's Nuts is in the building. And we got Kangaroo Jack still in this, man. Still in this.
Definitely, you know.
Yep, go ahead.
I mean, the big thing that I want to iterate on, you know, like what was Malik Scott's instructions in the corner? Like, you know, like we seen after the fifth to fourth round, I don't know if any of you's noticed it, but Wilder continued to go to his left side, walking into Fury's overhand right. Every time, every single time. That's why his ear got popped again, because he continued to move that way. And I was thinking to myself, why isn't he throwing the jab? I don't understand. Like, I'm a big Fury fan. I wanted Fury to bulldoze Wilder, but I respect Wilder's power, and that's why Fury got dropped a couple of times. You know, you got to be careful with Wilder. He only has to be good for a couple of minutes. But what's the instructions is Malik Scott given Wilder in regards to not allowing Fury to throw those wild punches, or is he unable to defend them? That's I don't know. Is he actually unable to defend Tyson Fury? Like you said, he pops his head up when he's defending. He leans back on the ropes. He allows the guy to come in.
And see that's and don't get me wrong, Fury did exactly what the hell you're supposed to do to a guy who is not doing what he's supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? I think Jimmy brought up a good point earlier when he talked about the emotions and the nerves component of it, because I did notice, and you can see in the stands, like he was tight. Fury was more relaxed. You know, he was, a little more relaxed how you're supposed to be. And we all know, I mean, you've been in the ring yourself. When you relax, it helps your mobility. And so I felt like he was stuck. He had on cement shoes, man. Like he couldn't move. Even with his jab to the body. Stayed in the same place, leaned forward, changing his levels, obviously. And he got some good jabs into the body. But like you said, there was no follow-up after that. And I'm wondering if the mental piece, kind of took over to the point where no matter what his corner was saying, you see what I'm saying?
Well,
he just wasn't there.
Well, the thing is, Fury. I mean, I go on a lot of these YouTube lives, and I listen to some people. I mean, you're probably the most chilled out one I've spoken to. A lot of them are immature, and they're all realistically, none of them know boxing. A lot of them, some of them do, but some of them are just so one-sided, actually don't understand the sweet science, But
right.
Like with Wilder, Fury. Let's be honest here. Fury wasn't doing much in the fight. He actually wasn't doing much. I mean, like right. He was slow for a Tyson Fury. He was so slow. He was so usually Fury's very herky jerky. He likes to move. He likes to feint. He likes to hold you out with the jab. Yeah, really moving around. But he wasn't. He was flat-footed. He wanted to engage. To engage.
That's a different piece that I was going to bring up too, because I saw glimpses of where Fury probably could have ended the fight way sooner. And I'm just like, one of them was when he did the, the pull, and he didn't counter, but it was almost like a pull counter, and he showed some of his, you know what I'm saying, his mobility for how big he is. And like you said, he's normally very mobile. And so he damn near carried Wilder. He carried him, man, throughout that damn fight, man. He really did. And
he could have finished him so much earlier, but he kept closing the distance and cuddling, like grabbing. And I mean, see, this is the thing. This is why Fury's such a smart heavyweight. For a heavyweight, this is why he's so smart. You talked about Floyd before, and I believe Floyd's, in my opinion, based on I love boxing. I don't like Floyd as a person. I think he's arrogant, but I love the sport of boxing, and he, in my opinion, is the best boxer of all time. And I don't give a shit what anyone says. If you love boxing, he is the pinnacle. He is the best of the best. So he will hit you. He will hit you, and you won't hit him. And there you go. That's sweet science.
That's the sweet science.
I mean, so with that, Fury could have got rid of him earlier in the fight. I believe I picked him to finish him by the 8th, but I think Fury was and wasn't scared of the right hand. I mean. Nobody ever gets up from Wilder's punches. Right. So how's Fury getting up?
He has power.
Go D.
Go D. I want to get D in here, man. We got to get Coach D in here, man. What's going on?
Get on up, D. Get on in it, D.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, coaches? Coach Miyagi, and you said I can't really read the name, Coach Jack.
We got Mr. Kangaroo Jack here in the
Kangaroo
building.
Jack. God bless. No, that's the part that I was waiting for, because I seen y'all was going. You were talking about the sweet science, and like I said, I'm a consumer. I just watch it. I watch it. I listen to commentators who have acumen talk about it, and then I go back and watch fights to see what they're talking about. So, as a consumer who's not a professional fighter, that's the only way I can gain some ground, some logical ground on what you guys are talking about. But the one thing that I did notice, and I'm noticing this, Wilder is a power puncher, but how in God's name is Fury being able to get up off the mat time and time again, even in the first fight?
You mean Wilder? Or are you talking about? You mean Wilder
Fury,
getting up off the canvas?
No, Fury getting up off the mat after he gets hit by Wilder.
Oh, I
mean, he got knocked down 2 times. Yeah, and so
even in the
for the first time
fights,
I watched.
Man.
That's what I'm saying. And so me coming in. So me coming into like the first, me coming into watching the first fight, okay, and I was like, okay, Wilder and this guy Fury, reading their backstories, all this stuff, listening to the commentators talk about it from the first fight, and then when he gets up, and I thought it was staged. Everybody thought it was staged in the first one when he laid there and just got up like he was the Undertaker or something. Man. I'm like,
no,
this guy
wasn't staged.
But I'm saying Wilder has power punches, right? This guy gets up time and time again. And just to see Wilder just drop to his knees, the one knockout in this fight, and then he wasn't getting up the last time. I'm with Kangaroo Jack here. Yeah, it's the nerves. It got to be something to it. When he fights against Fury, it's just like you said, Rico. He got cement. He's cemented to the ground. He's not moving.
And mind you, Jimmy made a good point. Jimmy did make a good point in that, granted, Wilder is not no super mobile. These guys aren't little. Fury is 6'9", Wilder is 6'7". So, I don't expect, they're not Floyd and Manny out there. I get all of that. You know what I'm saying? And actually, Fury is pretty fleet of foot to be 6'9". That's one of the most impressive things about the dude. And he can box. He can box, man.
Oh, he can box, all right.
Yeah, he can box for how tall. And a very likable guy too. Go ahead.
But Coach, Miyagi, that's the thing I'm asking. You said this heavyweight era is not as good.
Right.
We know that. We can see that.
Right.
But I do actually like Fury as a decent boxer. He may not have looked good last night. He might look a little sloppy at times. But it goes to show you, like, he's a decent fighter. What do you think about him, though? You just say he's a good fighter. That's what I said. Do you put him in the category as the bad ones?
And see, that's the thing, me and Jimmy, that's where we were split down the middle at, because, and again, we were spoiled. I feel like we were spoiled, man. And maybe I'm just realizing just how unique a Mike Tyson was, or how freakish these dudes were. Like Evander, man, he do have one of the best physiques in the game, and was a warrior, man. And then Lennox, and then Lennox, real quick, Lennox at 6'5", see, he really used that jab. He used it like a needle and was setting you up for that uppercut. Like these guys were different, and again, we're 15, 20 years ago. And so again, that's why I said I want to take nothing away from Fury. My only thing is the rest of the class, though. I need to see more to measure you against. You see what I'm saying? Like those.
Oh, definitely.
I need to see more because Wilder is not it. He is not, and any guy up under these guys, even Joshua. These get freakish looking dude, man. But I'm not impressed.
I need to
I've
see
seen enough. I've seen enough from Joshua.
Okay.
I've had enough of Josh. I've had enough of Joshua myself. I just believe if you're the world champion, you're letting a little guy outbox you, and you're not willing to change it up during the fight and act like a 6'7" giant, then you might as well just hand your titles over during the fight. I mean, but that's that. But what I want to say about the Fury situation and past legends, you only fight who you have in your era. I mean, let's not forget Fury is going on now at this second where we are right now, us three. Fury is in a position to potentially beat every heavyweight that's alive now and go undefeated and have all the top belts. Because that's what it's looking like. And knowing Fury, he'll probably do it because he seems to just have this winning mentality that he just seems to already win the fight before in press conferences and all this sort of thing, that he has this weird way of getting into people's head. Like, he comes with a t-shirt on at the weigh-in, like everyone's like blowing up about it. Apparently he's like too fat. It's like, this is where people don't know boxing, but you can only beat what's in your era. Like who did Klitschko have to beat?
That's true.
Nobody. There was no one there.
That's why they don't really get recognized like that. And and that's another component that I don't want to ignore either, because excuse me. And you're right. And because I would talk to some of the even the local boxers, and I would see them go against MMA guys who had no business being in the ring. And I'm like, dude, what was you doing? They're like, hey, man, I didn't set it up. They put them in front of me. So I get it. That is a good point too. And that, hey, whoever's in the era, whoever's around, it just is what it is.
And the heavyweight division is flying, like you said. Whoever's in your class, who's getting A's and B's, who's getting C's in your class, because that's what you're talking about. Who's in your class? If you're in your class and you're getting A's, you're the best. But that guy at the back there, he's getting C minuses, but he's still in your class. Do you see what I'm saying? But he's like the lower level, the B grade in your class, the C grade in your class. I mean, that's reality, though, isn't it? Really. Right. And when it comes to boxing skills, Deontay Wilder's probably a C grade, maybe even a D. But he can equalize with that right hand, and we've seen it.
Right. And see, that is you see, that's the thing that it gets me. C class, D class fighter, yet he was able to thrive and make it all the way to 39-0. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, wow.
Who are these guys?
And a lot of people feel like, hey, hell, a 50, how old is Mike? 55-year-old Mike could probably take it to him. From what we've seen with Mike and Roy, man, Mike looked like he could still. I wouldn't doubt if Mike could get it. The power is the last thing to leave with boxers.
You could throw Mike Tyson in there with a Lucas Brown.
Seriously, man.
So why isn't Wilder getting better? I mean, he's fought this guy 3 times. Is he not working on? I mean, I've even heard the vets who've retired say he need to get better at XYZ, and nothing's changed but the weight this fight. He just got heavier. Is this the repeat performance of what we've seen? How come he's not getting in the gym and working on some different stuff?
Oh no, he was in the gym. Him and his trainer. We've seen the footage.
Working on what?
We seen the footage.
Look at the footwork was.
That's what got me, because. And why I thought that he would win, because I'm like, okay, dude, this guy, getting granted, he got rid of his old trainer. He got this new guy. The new guy was working angles with him. He was punches and bunches. We saw this. You can go back even after we're done here and watch the footage. And that's why I'm like, man, either it is nerve, something happened. Something happened because this wasn't even the Wilder from fight 1. You see what I'm saying? So we see him getting better
in the 6'9" frame. Once he gets in front of Fury and he sees that 6'9" frame and he's no longer like maybe the big guy, I think that might do something to him. Who knows?
I mean, you're right, Coach.
I've never seen a 6'9" boxer.
I think that might be accurate as well in that, here
I think
you are,
it's
the 6'7" guy. Oh, go ahead, Kangaroo.
I think it's his legs. I mean, we see these videos. Have we seen any videos of him working on his running, working on his strengthening his legs? Because once he gets leaned on, he seems like his legs go before anything else. His punching power never goes. His ability to throw hands never goes. But his legs go like that in 2 seconds. So what's the conditioning like? I think what's the fight over? And that's what I believe. But because his legs are the first things to go when he gets pressure put on him, and he starts getting pushed back against the ropes, and he starts getting pushed around by the heavyweight. Because in my opinion, Deontay Wilder's a natural cruiserweight when he's at his right weight, in my opinion. But that's just me.
And you know what? He's actually built like a basketball player. He's very lean guy. Yeah. and you're right. He's. But see, I thought that could work for him. Well, I mean, he kind of did. I mean, in the sport of boxing, lean, long, tall, long reach. His jab nobody should be able to get past his jab. You would think that
if it's effective,
Exactly, and that's why it's the most important punch. And if I'm not seeing your jab by this time, you should have a nice, crisp, snappy jab. At this point in the game, man, to set up everything else.
It seemed like Fury fought a different fight from the first one to this one. Like you said, the first one he was moving a lot. This time he was leaning on him a lot. Like I think somebody mentioned he was bringing it to him more, and he was making him carry his weight. But I don't know, man.
I disagree, D. I disagree. I actually disagree. Like 100% disagree. Fury fought different all 3 fights. The third fight, he came in looking to do the sweet science, and it worked because, in my opinion, he outboxed Wilder in the first fight. Because I believe in boxing, I'm not going on knockdowns. If you outbox him for 9 of the 12 rounds, you win the fight, in my opinion. Second fight, he came in and he was herky jerky, but he came forward, elbows up, really putting it on and leaning him down, elbow tucked in, lifting his elbow up, chinning him like. Really aggressive, but he was a lot lighter on his feet, Fury. The third fight, he was planted on the ground, right? Fury did nothing. Absolutely, this is the first time I've ever seen Fury like this, as big as he was. He wasn't as herky-jerky. He did a couple little feints and that, like wiping his nose as he likes to do, like move little head movements, But he wasn't bouncing around. He wasn't against the ropes, leaning against the ropes. He's very quick. He knows how to slip punches, but he wasn't doing much. And I just thought at the start of the fight, I was like, Wilder might catch him here. Wilder might catch him. And he did catch him, but go back and watch it. This is what I'm saying. I don't understand the whole fucking concept of it, because he's knocked out 40 guys and Fury just seems to just get up.
Now, see, that to me is probably one of the most impressive things, because you can't teach having a great chin. You can't teach that at all. So, that in itself is part of the whole skill set when you're talking about a fighter. Because look, Roy was untouchable until Tarver caught him with that left hand, and then he started getting knocked out a lot after that. You see what I'm saying? That's when he got exposed. So, for Fury to get hit by one of the most powerful punches we've seen in a while, man, and be able to get up. That's
the single most powerful puncher to ever live. That snap right hand straight through your guard.
Yeah. What I put in the chat too, by the way, it was back when we were talking about you can only judge Fury by who's in front of him, and I've seen people try to use that argument with Floyd, on these ESPN sports chat talk shows, try to criticize who his opponent was. And it's like, you can't really help that as a fighter. So that's what I meant in the chat about, by that logic, then you're taking credit away from Floyd and different people who you don't think that were a match for him.
No. That's a different argument. I got to stop you right there. That's a different argument.
That's why I was saying. I'm saying you can't use that. Even though the heavyweight era right now isn't as good as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Fury's just beating who's in front of him is the point. I'm saying that's why you can't do that. You can't use those kind of arguments sometimes. Because Floyd, for example, he fights whoever's in front of him, but people always know. I've heard Skip Bayless try to criticize his opponents and say they weren't worthy opponents. And you can't do that to Floyd. You got to. He's 50-0. He's 50-0. So that's why I said that.
People tried to do that with Floyd, but see, the difference is welterweight division, the smaller guys. That's where a lot of the talent is. Floyd is just that good. The dude beat 24 world champions. You see what I'm saying? That's something totally different. That's
a different buddy level to everybody. That's a complete different level to everybody else in regards to achievements.
Yeah,
that is like legendary status, and I don't, regardless whether you walk around with bodyguards and all that, he is the GOAT of boxing, and he is a GOAT of boxing until he dies, in my opinion, until someone
go to any boxing group on Facebook, social media. This dude is still the most talked about boxer. To that, people comparisons all the time between him and Mike Tyson are still the most talked about, which also says a lot about the state of boxing, because if there were more going on, everybody wouldn't be so stuck on Floyd. You see what I'm saying? But Floyd, listen, whenever you could come back and still command 9 figures for exhibit, nobody in history is doing that. Nobody's from the
nobody's doing that.
Can say, you know what, I need 100 million just to jump.
And nobody gets his pay-per-view numbers either. That's the other thing.
Over $1 billion, man, and it's throughout his career. He's the only one. Ridiculous.
I mean, and
man.
I just want to make a quick question to you guys, because it's very fascinating for me, because I think it's going to make for a great future bouts and all that, because I can't wait for it. I love exciting heavyweight fights. It's especially when it's thriving in front of our face. Because it's never thrived in my lifetime. So, and I'm only 21. So, AJ Usyk, they'll be fighting in the rematch. I believe it goes the same way, because I think AJ's scared of getting hit, and he drops straight away. He's finished once he gets hit. So then it will be Fury White. I believe Fury completely dominates White. If he gets through Otto Wallin, which won't be easy, by the way, because Otto Wallin is a very experienced amateur and goes okay. He's not the best, but he goes okay. He goes really well, actually. Otto Wallin, watched a couple of his fights. So Fury versus Usyk, I believe, will be the end result out of everything. I just have the funny feeling. And for me personally, my prediction will be, well, first things first, if anyone questions it, I would ask you to go and watch the Steve Cunningham fight and watch Steve Cunningham outbox Fury, because Steve Cunningham was outboxing Fury. Like, for the first, no one's ever outboxed him except for Steve Cunningham. And then Fury turned it into a brawl when he got dropped. And then this cruiserweight was in trouble. So if Usyk's outboxing Fury, which I think is possible, Fury will just not let him. What you think Fury's going to allow him to just outbox him the whole fight and not not turn it into a fight? Or what do you guys think?
I think that Fury's he's gonna probably step his game up. He's gonna be in there with another actual boxer, as opposed to a brawler. And as we know how that, everybody always has a puncher's chance. So let's not. We've seen brawlers knock folk out. That it could just happen. But I think with Fury, like you said, and like Jimmy was pointing out, he's a smart fighter. He's a cerebral guy, man. And I think that he knows he's not going to go in there with the same approach as he did with the Wilder. You see what I'm saying? He's going to have to utilize more of his wits about him. You know what I'm saying? To defeat this guy.
awkwardness, a herky-jerky style.
Yeah, right.
Fighting orthodox, fighting southpaw, switching it up because he can fight both sides. Keep in mind, I think we forget about that. He can fight orthodox and southpaw. He can fight both. This is where with Usyk he can do that. It's a chess match of the finest, and I can't wait.
Well, see, that I was going to ask you guys because I watch Fury, and I've been watching him the last few times against obviously the same fighter. I just don't know what his weakness is anymore. I mean, does he have a weakness? You were mentioning, you said something about, was it Steve Cunningham was kind of like giving him some kind of like challenges? What were those challenges?
Too fast. Oh, those challenges were. Steve Cunningham was a 2-time world champion in cruiserweight, I'm pretty sure, from memory. I don't know much about him, but I don't think you guys might. Do you know much about Cunningham? Just give me a quick run over, or...
I mean, I don't. No. To be honest, I don't. Yeah, I don't know too much about him.
Yeah, he was just a 2-time world heavyweight champion. He was a 2-time cruiserweight champion, and he was giving Fury. I think this is when Fury started to identify his boxing style as well. He was coming up. This was 2013 or whatever. He was just before he fought Klitschko, and Steve Cunningham was actually outboxing Fury. You know, going to the body, going up with the snap jab. You know, breaking Fury's defense. And then Fury overextended with the jab, and then Cunningham come over with the right overhand and caught him. And Fury went down, and Fury got up straight away. It looked like a knockout blow, but Fury got up straight away. And straight away, Miyagi, straight away, Fury turned it into a brawl and knocked him out up against the ropes, just elbows up, and just knocked him into next week. Because he knew he wasn't winning on the card, so he had to get him out of there.
Oh yeah,
and like you said, D, you know, I have this Fury in my head. I have this after watching these fights. I think to beat Tyson Fury, you have to knock him out or stop him.
Yeah.
And you're not going to knock him out because he has like an amazing chin. He's always going to get up. We just see him get up every single time it gets one of the hardest punches in the thing. So I'm saying to myself, how big is what's Steve Cunningham's frame look like? Is he about 6'7"?
He's the same size as Usyk, but he's about 6'4". He's a little bit taller than Usyk. Yeah, he's a little bit taller, tiny bit taller. But Usyk's a really small heavyweight, and we know what Fury does to small heavyweights. Ask Derek Chisora, he'll tell you.
Fury, man, he's got a unique frame, man.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody's gonna be. It's kind of how you always describe Coach Miyagi, how you always describe John Bones, right? He's just different. You know what I mean? It's just he's a freaking thing going on here. It's just what it is.
You know who I want to see, man, and I don't know if you guys familiar. I think I put it in our text thread earlier, man. Gerald Big Baby Miller. Have you guys had a chance? You've had a chance to see him, Kangaroo Jack?
Oh yeah, I've seen him on a few fights on YouTube. Watched a couple of his fights, but I didn't know him before he had the press conferences with the AJ before he was meant to fight AJ, but. That's why I went and watched a few of his fights, and he's actually quite a technical boxer. He's got he's not a knockout artist, but he's technical. I'll give you the hot tip.
I think that this guy. I think that not to cut you off. I think that he, for one, uniquely, this dude boxes at times well over 300 pounds. He himself is about 6'4", 6'5", but I've seen him. He'll go up. And then he'll come down to about 270, 280. And just like Fury, man, he's a slick dude. But he'll walk you down, right? And again, that competition thing. I don't think we've seen, like we've already seen, like you said, he's a technical boxer. I think he needs to be tested too. I think that I would love to see him and Fury get it in. I think that would be a dope matchup. Trevor
Bryan needs his. Who's got the WBA regular title? Some guy keeps saying that he's a world champion. Trevor Bryan or something, there's some guy in the US that has the WBA regular world championship. I don't know who he is, but he's one of the heavyweights in America, and he's like, he hasn't fought anybody, but he's got a world title on his name. So You know, there's so many titles going. There's so many titles going around. So many of them. And I
this
just
guy, what is it, Alexander? Oh yeah, but you said the current WBA.
I got a question for both
it's
of you too.
Usyk, isn't it?
No, WBA regular world champion.
Oh, excuse me.
I got a question for both of you. Going back to Wilder real quick, because I'm really still trying to figure the guy out. It's disappointing, you know. But when you know you're a power puncher, and you say to yourself, if I get that one shot, you ain't getting up. And if you see the other fighter get up, does that do something to a fighter psychologically? When you know, like, well, shit, that ain't gonna work. You know, like,
it
what
could,
is
it could.
Like, maybe, right? He says in the first fight when he knocked him down and dude got up like the Undertaker, and then you do that this fight, and it's like you start to maybe feel like what? Maybe you can't do nothing with them. Maybe for somebody like Wilder.
I would say you couldn't do nothing with them. It's just that, you know what? Cool. I'm just going to outbox you. Not that I'm, listen, I done already dropped you and you got up. Okay, cool. I'm just going to just outbox you. If I'm already outboxing you, then you're just going to lose by points.
Wilder doesn't expect him, but Wilder never expects his opponent to get off that mat when he knocks him down. Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Somebody like Wilder.
I don't know.
The thing with Fury is D, like you just said, and that would play a lot on your mental on your mental health, especially if you fight the guy 3 times. I mean, you'd be laying there thinking, if this guy doesn't stay down, what the F do I do?
Point.
You know,
Good point, D.
I mean, you the thing with Fury as well, if you start throwing hands with Fury, yes, he's a slick boxer. Yes, we all know him as a guy that's awkward, as a guy that's willing to outbox you and make it a boring fight. We all know that of Tyson Fury. We've seen it with Klitschko in 2015. But with Fury, if you start swinging on him, he is well and truly willing to swing back. He has no problems with going into a brawl. He's not scared of it. He'll swing back. And if he hits you, he may not be a power puncher, but he's a combinations of punches hit you because they're so awkward. I don't even know if they're actual punches sometimes. They just come overhand rights, and it looks like he's just like leaning in with those long arms that hit you from. You think you're in distance with Fury, but you're not in distance because he ducks his head and he cuddles you. Like,
he's
so you know. Yeah, he's very crafty, and you know he's up, or he ducks his head down to the right and swings it up to the left, and then throws the left hook to the eardrum or something. He's very technical like that, and
he's a boxer.
Yeah,
we don't see Wilder do none of that at all.
We don't see any heavyweight do that.
That speaks to, again, like you said, you know, Fury's mobility, man, and like I said, his craftiness. One of the things I wanted to bring up too was this whole glove gate thing. I don't know if you guys were peeping out the whole gloves when they were testing out the
I was just going to ask you for the controversy,
because man, you know, on my Motivate Experience channel, right? You know, I do the boxing glove reviews and stuff like that, man, and so you know, I'm getting gloves in from Pakistan and all over too, man, and so. What is the name of Fury's glove? Packing Sports, I think. And I think Wilder
Packing
was wearing,
Sports.
Yeah, and Wilder was wearing his typical Everlast. Now, there was a clear that anybody with eyes can see. Now, granted, this had nothing to do with him losing, but I'm just saying, though, just that issue in itself, because I know it was an issue in past fights too, man. Them damn packing gloves, man. I don't know how they're passing inspection. It was a clear difference in those gloves. They look super worn out.
Definitely. I agree with that, and I'm a Fury fan. I mean, you look at Fury's gloves. No, but it's actually not starting something. Like, Floyd would never fight in those sorts of gloves if there's no padding in it.
How do you fight with no padding in it? That means you feeling all this. That means you feeling all that. You know
all that all day long.
When I looked at Fury on that Deontay's gloves, you know, nicely packaged in, you could clearly tell it was made with a different type of foam. Like, you know, one of the more popular foams is called IMF, like IMF foam. I don't know if that's what they use, but it kind of resembled that. And like like I said, it ain't got nothing to do with this fight because clearly, you know, shit, he could have beat him with some
with
some regular,
it might come up again.
Some snow mitts on, and still, no, he just simply outboxed dude. It didn't got nothing to do with no damn gloves, man.
He just simply
Wilder,
just moved. He just
somebody. Paul said,
"Well, no.
Wilder should retire."
Say...
Hey, I agree, man. I agree. Wilder, he should hang it up, man. Just you good. You got your money, man. Yeah.
Only reason why I said it might be something is because I've heard even Kangaroo Jack say, you know, Fury's not really a power puncher. He puts together combinations. So, but he was leaving Bro on the mat. I mean, it looked like he was a power puncher.
He dropped him about 5 times. He dropped him about 5 times.
Golly.
He dropped him about 5, and he kept
getting
up. But it's
if
like
he's not a power puncher. Maybe it's his glove. Who knows?
Excuse me, but it's the thing you can't help.
D's starting something that he can't get himself out of. D is starting something that he can't get himself out of. You better have that drink.
Fights, man, with Wilder. I mean, I'm not even seeing the same confidence level in this dude. Just take the boxing out of it. Just the confidence. You know, that's one of the things that he's known, beating in his chest. You know, and Jimmy said, dude, I looked at him in the walkout and can tell. And a lot of times you can with fighters. You can see it in their eyes for real. You heard Mike Tyson say that. I can look at the dude's eyes. Look, it's over.
Oh, he looked fine before the fight.
But I don't know, man. I don't know. Somebody say he should give it up. Hell, he's 40-something fights in. Like, dude, you did your thing. They do ask him in boxing at this point, where does he go from here?
Well, Derek Chisora is still pay-per-view in the UK, and he's got more damage on his brain than any other heavyweight I've ever seen. That guy gets knocked out for fun, but he still beats people. Like, he still gets a knockout every now and again, but he just comes to fight. And I'm not saying Wilder's going to be one of those, like one of those sort of fighters, like they just rock up journeyman sort of fighters. But what I will say is he has the ability to knock out any other heavyweight in the world. He just needs to get the right people in his camp to help him out with a few things. You know, like, I don't think Malik Scott is the right person for him. I think they may need, I'm just going to call it now, and this is just me. I'm just going to call it because I believe it may help him more. Floyd. Yeah, I'm honestly Floyd. Dead set. I'm being serious.
If he's going to continue, you're right. He needs Floyd in his corner, man. But see, here's the thing, though, right? Here's the other piece, the other side of the equation. I don't know if Kangaroo or Jimmy brought this up. Was he even listening to the corner? Because it don't matter who you got in the corner. If you're not listening, and if you see what I'm saying?
First 2 rounds he was going to the game plan, but then went away. I don't know what was going on, but I mean, that's the only thing that doesn't move on Fury's body is his body, like his ribs. They never move. And if you get him to the body, see, this is the thing. I can't even explain Fury's. I can't even explain what Fury's weaknesses are, because the guy gets better as the fight goes on, and he's got a dad bod. Like, his body's like yours, Big Miyagi, and mine. I'm fat. Like, I'm not fat, but I'm like not. I haven't got abs, but I can outbox someone very easily. And I can go like 8 rounds easily. You know, Fury's conditioned as a boxer. And I think people don't understand this, especially the younger generation around my age. They think it's all about how you look and, you know, weights and bodybuilding and all that. Where Fury's a traditional sweet science boxer. For a heavyweight, he is anyways.
That reminds me of the infamous Crunk Gym. I think it's in Michigan, right? How, and this is how the whole shoulder roll became popular in Michigan, is these guys, these old journeymen, the older boxers would come back to this gym and they'd be old and out of shape, but would hop right in there and spar 10, 15 rounds because they knew how they had a certain point. Take James Toney. If you've seen James Toney box, that's the old out of shape, old Crunk Gym boxers coming in, giving these young guys work because they understand the mental aspect of it, and how when you're relaxed, it helps with the fluidity of your movement. So, I mean, to your point, like you said, you don't have to look like a machine, but if you understand just those two pieces in itself, makes a world of difference.
You know who really looks good? I don't know if you've watched it, D and Miyagi. Frank Sanchez. He looked really good in the undercard. I think it was co-main event. Young guy coming up through the ranks, but he looked like an up and coming.
Let me jot that down in my notes. I want to check him out or something. After what's the name?
Frank Sanchez.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't catch that.
He fought in the co-main event against Ujanga or something, some guy from Nigeria. But you know, like as Dee was saying before, you know, we've come to the realization now, and I'm actually quite happy about it, that everybody's come to the realization is Fury beatable. And can you how, as a coach, how are you going to tell your fighter to go in there and beat him? Are you going to tell your fighter to go in there and brawl with him and get leaned on the whole fight, or are you going to tell him to go in there and try and outbox him? So
he's a whole nother weight class.
He's a monster.
Let's just be for real. He's more to me. He's bigger than a heavyweight. Come on, y'all.
How much did he weigh in at? You guys know?
277.
Okay. So 277 spread throughout a 6'9" frame. So as opposed to when you look at Big Baby, which actually Big Baby is pretty proportionate.
That's a left
even
tackle.
At 6'4". But yeah, right. With Fury, but Fury got them chicken legs though too. You know.
Yeah.
But still, you know. And that's I don't know, man. He's just a super likable guy. That's why I say I don't want to hate on him at all, man. He's a super likable dude.
Well, when I went to the UK to watch him fight, and his comeback against Sefa Safari, and I've seen him in person. He is a big man. Like, he may look on television that he's got skinny legs, but he is a really big man. Like, I remember when WWE came to Australia, I went to that as well, and I had a look at that. And I remember that who walked past me, the Great Khali. I don't know if you know the Great Khali in WWE, the big tall guy, 7 foot. Fury is literally like a few centimeters off his height, like, and that is huge. And this is what I'm saying. He's like super heavyweight almost. You know, like he's making another weight class.
So what are we witnessing here for the future of boxing? Are we gonna see a 7-footer? I mean, you know, if we start to get to this level of different frames,
we might have seen that already. I'm trying to, you know, there's a guy who fought a cat here in Minneapolis, man, and this dude, I can't think of this guy's name. I think he was I don't know if he's a Latino fighter, but the dude was like 6'6", man, at 150 pounds or something like that.
There's a guy in China now at the moment. He's a heavyweight. He weighs he's 7'1" or something. 7 foot. He's a heavyweight. He's 20-0. Hasn't fought anybody. Obviously, he's not got much promotion, but you know, there's heavyweights out there that, you know, all we have to do is get some of these big prize fighters to pull them out of their country and get them over and have a fight, and then they obviously become noticeable. But like you're saying, you know, you can't compare the heavyweights nowadays to what they were back in the day. I mean, the heavyweights now are way too large, are a lot bigger. Like, Fury's the biggest heavyweight out of all of them. He is a giant, Fury. Like you see the video of, like, you look at the video of him next to Lennox, and Lennox was probably the biggest out of all the old guys. Fury's a lot bigger than Lennox, like body wise. And you look at that and you go,
the Klitschko's
wow.
were also pretty tall. They were lean dudes, more like hoopers, but they were still 6'7", I think. One of the brothers was about 6'5", one was 6'7".
Vladimir was 6'6", but Vitaly was 6'8" or something. He was the bigger one, but he didn't achieve as much as Vladimir. But I don't really, for me, Vladimir Klitschko, like, who is he for? Like, I know boxing, but I don't even know who that guy even fought. Like did he even fight Wilder? Because I knew Wilder was WBC champion for like years while Klitschko had the titles. So why did they never fight each other?
I don't know. Was it Bird? Was it James Bird that he ended up? One of the guys that he had fought, and then the undersized fast Eddie Chambers, maybe. But
Well, he probably
again,
fought
man,
guys unknown cruiserweights and bloody crap and tomato can heavyweights.
yeah, these cats, man. I mean, good point though, as far as like where the sport is heading to. I don't mind the Giants, you know. And I think we are going to see more freaks of nature. We may get a cat that's just ridiculously athletic, even more athletic for a big guy in the future. Sometimes I don't doubt that at all, man. Yeah, every era we got to have our Giants.
Yeah, you have
So
to.
in saying that, just a follow-up question I had to that was, Miyagi, you a big guy, right? You 5'8".
But I ain't right. I'm 5'8.5", but I'm about 260 on them.
And let's say you was in the heavyweight class and you was been killing fools, and then all of a sudden they want to say Miyagi going up against this 7-foot dude. Is that a realistic fight? Trust me, brother.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
I know you get down, but what would you do against somebody that big?
Hey, I'm employing the peekaboo all day long. For one, if you got a big body, that means you a big target. And see, what I don't see a lot of people do is a lot of body punching too. And see, the old heads know you go after the body. The body, you eat up the body, the head. Hey, that's how you create those other openings, man. And so, a good boxer, man, a good boxer know to get that body work in. You're supposed to put that in from round one. What they call that, putting money in the bank throughout the course of a fight. That's how you wear somebody down.
So you saying with smaller fighters, they got to do some sort of like the peekaboo, kind of like go to the body. Explain that to me. How that looks, because you got to get past that bigger guy's reach. You know what I mean? Right. Remember when Lennox fought Tyson? Like that thing. It's almost like Tyson couldn't get in.
I just, you know what? I hate CDB getting now. We talking about my boy, man. We talking about my boy now. You know, Mike is not. He wasn't the same Mike that we knew earlier today. I mean, and that's simple because for one, the main piece about the peekaboo was what custom models move that head. By the time Mike fought Lennox, it was no head movement. It was none of that weaving going on. He sat there like a sitting duck. So I'm not surprised that Lennox lined him up with that jab and set him up with the up. You're right there. But the Tyson of the 80s, who was coming forward like that and would have been slipping those jabs, then creating the opening, that's a whole different conversation.
Well, you slip the jabs. I mean, that's the thing. What you just said, like, you know, you're facing a guy that's 6'9" and you're like 6'1", 6'2". You know, you're not going to try and stand on the outside and outbox because obviously their jab's going to, you know, you're going to be eating jabs all day. But you know, you identify the defensive style of the big tall guy, how he defends his body. And that opens up avenues automatically if you're willing to come forward and open. Me personally, if I was a small guy, I'd tuck my chin in and I'd be coming forward with a tough jab. Like I'm talking a jab that's countering their jab. So you're throwing the jab, then you're coming back with your jab as well. But your jab's like just countering and you just go into the body the whole fight. Like for the first 5-6 rounds, work the body, in and out, in and out, in and out.
See, that's the science of it too. That's the science of it. And see, that's why when you go, that's why I appreciate Tyson because I study this guy like endlessly, man. And when you really look into the system of the peekaboo, it's a system. You see what I'm saying? See, when we were younger, we just looked like Tyson was a swarmer. He just like he was a brawler. But when you really study the system, and the details of what Customato came up with, man, this dude was a genius. And the thing is, it was proven over time, and that's what I was trying to tell Jimmy. The first champion was Floyd Patterson that utilized the style. Then came Joe Torres that utilized the style, or Jose Torres, and then came Mike Tyson, who, like Floyd, took the shoulder roll to another level. Tyson took the peekaboo, which was an old school style, to
Larry
a whole
Holmes was the
other
best
level.
for me.
Right, and it was more like a gladiator type of style, but he was the perfect specimen for it too. And so that's why I say I would love to see these modern day dudes do it, but I don't think anybody's brave enough.
The closest you would get would be Andy Ruiz. If Andy Ruiz loses weight, he's a very good counter puncher.
I can see that.
He gets in low. He gets in real low.
And he hits
like
hard
he's a real,
too.
Very hard. And he comes over the top with those right hooks, those right overhand hooks. But he goes to the body. He's willing to work on the inside. I have the belief if you're a guy 5'11", if you're 5'11", 6'2", 6'1", you got to be. If you're willing to work on the inside, like when I mean work, I mean work. Like go to work, pump those elbows up. Use your calf muscles to lift up.
Are you doing this in the pocket, Kangaroo Jack? Because I see a big fighter literally coming towards the smaller boxer, closing the distance, leaning on him, just making it impossible for like the small boxer to. I just don't see fighters coming at the bigger fighter like you suggested, Miyagi, like how Mike used to do. I don't see that these days.
Right, that's my point. Excuse me.
It depends on the fighter, really. It depends on the fighter. Like if you're going to come forward against a Wilder, if you're going to come forward against an Usyk, if you're going to come forward against a Fury, like you come forward against Wilder, Usyk, or let's throw in, who else can we throw in? Fucking Dominic Brazil. You're gonna get them. You can catch them. You can catch them on the inside because they're not very good. Like they're not going to counter you with anything else if you're coming forward with your chin tucked in, working on the inside, going to the body and coming up with that hook from the legs. Because that's where Mike Tyson gained his power.
Yeah.
He came down and he came up from those legs. Those legs are powerful.
Leverage.
If say for example, but if you go forward against Derek Chisora, however, Derek Chisora will punch a hole through your head. Do you see? Because he's 6'3", but if you're 6'1" or that, and you're coming in low with Chisora, I know it's hard to do. I understand what you're saying, D. You probably can't stop it if the tall guy knows what he's doing, but a lot of the time, these small guys, they're probably counter punching. I'd say Miyagi against tall guys, maybe.
And see, that's the thing. That's what was so cool about the peekaboo. And I think I had a debate with a guy about this online. Is that like the misconception is that Mike was just an aggressive dude. Like, no, he was a counter puncher. He was what you call a aggressive counter puncher because what he do, jab, slip, but he's moving forward. His little shifts within his feet. You see what I'm saying? He's not gonna. We talking about the '80s, Mike, prime Mike. He's not just gonna walk in there. It was moving that head, right? He's moving that head. He slips you, I'm already there. If I slip you, now I'm looking at ribs. it's that body punch to that uppercut. Then I'm gonna shift out on the side of you. And then boom, 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 boom. He was very explosive. And so that's what I mean by it's a system. It isn't one thing that you have to do. It's footwork along with, you see what I'm saying, the head movement.
And like Amanda said, he said most fighters who was fighting Mike back then, they would go backwards because a lot of those big guys were scared of Mike. They were scared of that little dude coming at them. But now, these days, I don't see the big fighter like a Fury afraid of smaller fighters. I just don't.
But you don't really see too many guys Mike's stature these days either, though. At the heavy, we don't really.
Like I said, the heavyweights now are way too big, way too big. I mean, that's why you can't compare. And I don't really like to compare the heavyweights from back then because we live now. We're in the here and now. Yeah. So let's talk about our heavyweights. They're the legends you look back and you honor. You cherish them because they're the best. That's what makes boxing the past heavyweights. So. We honor them, we cherish them. They want to get in and help.
That was the part that's tough for me because I'm we were lucky enough to live through that era. And you're right, this is different. We got giants out here 6'6" up and up. This is crazy. When I watch, I want you guys go back and check out Big Baby again, man, because that dude actually he impressed me, and he used to be a glory. He was a K1 kickboxer who crossed over.
Yes, he was.
Into boxing.
He did. Yes, he was.
And it's just killing everybody. That's why I said that's who I want to see continue to, because this dude got actual skill.
Let's hope he gets his life sorted out.
Right.
First, I wish.
Go ahead, Kangaroo.
I hope he gets his life sorted out, because see, you thing with Big Baby Miller, and the thing with Big Baby Miller is he can really add to the heavyweight division. He's actually a really nice guy, intelligent, smart guy, cares about people,
charismatic.
You know, he could sell paper. Well, what do you call him, Shay?
For a heavyweight, the thing with Big Baby, and you'll see too. I'll send you some links on him. And that poise I was talking about. You see what I'm saying? He's a crafty dude. He's sneaky. He doesn't have to do it. He shouldn't do a lot of jumping around at all. But he'll be, coming forward. You see what I'm saying? He'll draw you in, make you miss, and counter.
Let's just say he identifies the jab very early. Big Baby. Yeah. Like he knows he can. Maybe he hasn't fought anybody of a credible opponent, but I've watched a few of his fights. He's quite aggressive on the inside, and he will walk you down, like literally walk you down. I think he wants to be hit. Maybe he wants to be hit. I don't know, but he'll walk you down, and if him and AJ fought, maybe he would have beaten AJ. I don't know, but so it's like you just never know with these things. But I like Big Baby. Usyk, unleash Usyk on him.
CFC said, you know what I'm saying? Unleash Usyk on him. Yeah, we want to see him tested. We need to see Gerald Big Baby Miller. We need to see him tested, man. And just a quick just to kind of pivot a little bit, the Canelo joint. I'll probably do a whole other segment on that. But what do you guys think? And then we're gonna go ahead and get out of here in a couple of minutes too. But really quick, you got Canelo coming up versus Caleb Plant. Really quick, what do you guys think about that? We'll start with Kangaroo. Or go ahead, Coach D.
Yeah. No. All I was gonna say was I'm just a big fan of Canelo right now. I think he's the best fighter in his class. To be honest, I mean, does he work out with Floyd?
Oh no.
No.
He already got his lesson from Floyd some years ago.
But I thought
that's why he's good right now.
I thought I heard Floyd speaking highly of him, but I just think I think he's the guy. I like him. So I'll leave it at that. I want to hear what Kangaroo got to say about it.
Canelo. See, I like Billy Joe Saunders. I mean, if you know your boxing, I like Billy Joe Saunders, and I just thought he got his cracked face in, and he thought he threw the towel in too early. But Billy Joe looked really good. He looked very calm. He actually was quite slick. But for me, I'm going to be honest with you. I actually don't care about Canelo. I'm not interested. I think there's no one nobody credible to beat him. Like, he's not on the level of Floyd. He's not on the level of Pacquiao.
That's kind of big. I know him and Triple G did their thing. Which with Plant, man, I actually like the young gunner, man. I like Plant. I like that he's a volume puncher. I like that he uses his reach very well.
Canelo's going to eat him alive.
The ring generalship is there.
That's what I'm saying.
And Canelo is slick. I don't know.
But do volume punchers take a lot of risks? The fact that they are volume punches, they do leave openings, right? Because they're not wild and out of control, but they're volume.
But they don't call them sweet hands for nothing. Watch some more Caleb Plant, man. He's not slow. It's wow, and he's moving. So my thing is, how are you going to deal with that for 12 rounds? Now, like a Floyd, he could steal rounds from you. Come out, boom, 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 moving, round one over. You see, so before you know it, he's up 3 or 4 rounds. So how is Canelo going to deal with that?
No, that's a great point. That's exactly how he lost to Floyd, too. So if this guy does that kind of stuff, he moves, and you're not getting them, I can see him winning some rounds.
I don't even think
knock him out.
I don't even think Canelo's gotten over losing to Floyd yet, but
Kev says sweet hands is nice, man. I agree. And you know what, man, dude, this to show you how many levels Floyd. Oh my dude, people forget Canelo was the young gunner. He was 42-0. And I hate when people say, man, Canelo was young. This man had 42. He was 42-0. He was supposed to be the young gunner, man. But again, when you watch this craft and you pay attention, you know that you were witnessing something with Floyd. We might not ever get another Floyd, bro, ever. Like this dude.
But that's why I don't like Coach Kangaroo Jack. You're not a fan of Canelo. It sounded like. I mean, the guy, he was a prodigy a little bit, right? You don't really like him. What do you don't like about Canelo?
I don't know. I just never really had a few of my mates go and watch his fights, but I can't watch his fights. I'm just not interested in him. Like I remember him fighting Floyd, and I'm just not interested. Like I like Tank though. Tank's pretty good.
Yeah, Tank's a beast, man. That's
I can't, brother. I can't. Like I'd like to stick to the heavyweights.
Right, you got your
I don't like watching.
I feel you.
Yeah, these little guys can fight each other and go.
Right.
No, he's right. That's that old school, man. You know, back in the days, man. See, my grandmama was the one that got me into watching boxing, which is crazy, man. And it was all about the big guys, bro. Back in the days, it was always about the heavyweights, man. And so that's why I guess for me, I'm so critical of the heavyweights of today. You see what I'm saying? But like Kangaroo Jack said, you know what, that was then and this is now. It's just hard for me to let go, man. It's hard for me to let go.
Well.
Let it go. Let it go.
I know, but Coach Kangaroo Jack, think about it. Now, I'm not saying stylistically here. I'm just saying by way of size. Think about Muhammad Ali when he had to fight George Foreman. Right? Wilder, if he's gonna stay around and stick around, he's gonna have to develop in something to like. The only reason why Muhammad Ali beat George Foreman was because he was moving. You know what I mean? Because he had to take some shots. It's like Wilder, just going back to that, I heard you guys say maybe he should retire. Somebody was saying that. He's going to have to get some better footwork and be able to move that says just as well as somebody,
Anyone that says Deontay Wilder should, anybody that says Deontay Wilder should retire should probably just take a seat in the back of Big White because... Yeah, I can hear you, mate.
Okay.
Anyone that says Wilder should retire should take a seat in the back and be quiet because I think that's completely disrespectful. He won. This is I don't understand this. I honestly, guys, this is the theory I don't understand. He's lost 2 fights against the best heavyweight in the world. Why is everyone saying he should retire? I don't understand that. Or 3 or 2 or whatever.
3. It's just 2.
I know it was a draw, but to me, he lost 3.
Is it? He has 2 officially though, right? It's obviously it's just 2 fights.
But so why is everyone saying retire? I don't understand.
That used to bother me too, Kangaroo. And see, again, as an former MMA professional, man, MMA is different. Obviously, with martial arts, this is about the spirited performance. Some of our greats got losses, and so with boxing though. It's different. You lose 1 or 2 fights. People, hey, well, what does he do now? It's like, dude, the man won 40-some fights. What are you talking? What does he do?
Hold up, because Coach Kangaroo, me and Miyagi go back and forth about this. Rico, me advice. You and Kangaroo Jack are savants. I'm a consumer. I watch it, and I try to follow it as best as I can. I'm not a professional. But
whose background is doing that? Is that my background? I hear a lot of who's a little feedback. Is that you?
Is that better? That's better, right?
Well, is that you, Kangaroo Jack? The background? Can you guys hear that? Or is it just me?
No, mine's fine.
Okay.
I think that's better. What we're saying is, okay, we see how you're making moves and progress, and you're doing your thing. You're winning fights. Now you got this big one, and you don't perform like you performed in the fights you were winning. That does something to somebody who pays for pay-per-view, who watches you, who follows you, who is a fan. We see you get in the ring, and you're not doing some of the things you were doing when you were winning. That's the point. That's why we bring it up.
But you can have those like for an example. I fight you, right? You got my number. It doesn't mean the other heavyweight champion in Miyagi is going to come and beat me, I could knock him out. You know, like, this is what I'm saying. Like, I believe Wilder still has the potential to unify the division if he does it the right way. See, this is a funny thing of this whole situation. So you're telling me Ruiz is going to come in there and put it on Wilder? Well, I believe Wilder will put a hole through his head. I believe Wilder will put a hole through his head.
But I do feel like somebody like Ruiz will still try to do some of the things that has gotten him thus far. See, some of these guys get egos, or maybe it's, I don't know what it is.
Ruiz I don't want to be presumptuous. I don't want to be presumptuous. I don't want to be presumptuous. I'm just saying, I can see somebody like Ruiz. He seems hungry to me still. He will get in there and give that 110% effort. When a fighter's not doing what he did in fights that made him successful, he's not giving 110. Ken said, respect the Kangaroo Jack. That's what's up, man. We appreciate you.
Cheers, Kevin. I appreciate that. Yeah, like you said, like, you know, I just have a thing in my head that I believe Wilder knocks every other heavyweight out in the world. Every heavyweight. I mean, if you're gonna go and pump Wilder, you got to have balls like King Kong, like Fury said. So you got to be careful you don't get caught coming in, because he's done it 40 times. Maybe Fury's got his number, but he's done it 40 times. So what's saying he can't do it to any other heavyweight? Because he's done it to every other heavyweight he's fought, hasn't he? So what, people just got to just come in and smash him now? Nah, not going to happen. I rate Wilder.
A heavyweight that's got
and we won't say retire Wilder, but we'll say don't fight Fury again. How's that?
Yeah, I think.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know, move. But you know what? But you know what? The money though. We seen Pacquiao and Marquez fight 5 times. You never know. I mean, and at the state of boxing now, it's all about, you know, I guess it's obviously about money, but now even more so.
But they were questioning that too, Miyagi. They were questioning why Marquez and Pacquiao were still doing it.
That might be
It wasn't, you know, they were questioning why they keep doing it. But yeah, I don't think he should fight him again. I really do want to see. I want to see. Remember the trash talk from 2 to 3 years ago? Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder. I think that would be a good fight to watch.
Well, Anthony Joshua doesn't want to get hurt, so he'll try and stay on the outside, and that quick right hand through his guard will be all over Red Rover.
What's wrong with him? Give me some insight. What is the deal with Anthony? I don't know the guy, I can't remember the guy's name who just beat him, but he had great hands, and I'm just like, is this guy Joshua a real boxer? Now, listen, I'm a fan. Of course he'll whoop my ass. But I'm watching you fight other professionals. And I'm just curious. You're built like a creative player, sir. I mean, if I'm if I'm playing a boxing game on Xbox, I'm creating my player to look like him. And he gets
you know the history.
Nothing is registering.
Check it out. Can you hear me? Because I know I just changed some things up. Can you guys still hear me? Good. Mm-hmm. So your boy, you know Joshua was a soccer player turned boxer.
So he should have good footwork. He didn't show good footwork the last fight.
You would think that, but see, it just goes to show you. See, boxing, you can't really. It ain't something you just hop in talking about. Yeah, I'm about to. You might be all right for your first few fights.
He was smaller than him. And he still was. He was surgical. He was.
That's what I love about boxing. Though
he didn't give him a straight line. He was eating up Joshua.
That's what I love about boxing is that, see, all that creative play, that don't mean a damn thing. Because when you can box, you can box. You hear me? We done seen small guys.
I hope I get proved. Miyagi, I hope we get proved. I hope me and D get proved wrong, but I'm on the same boat as D. Like, I mean, that age, he's like a robotic, stiff idiot. Like, literally, that's what he is. I mean,
no, you're right.
He relies on his good looks and his physique to get girls, maybe.
Marketing, and see, that's
nothing in the ring.
They protected him for a while, but now they can't hide him no more. He's
I don't think any hand can protect him.
Guy.
But where's he marketable though? Like, where are you gonna? So if he loses to Usyk the second fight, so if he loses to Usyk, so if he loses to Usyk the second fight, coach, he loses to Usyk the second fight. How's Eddie Hearn selling Anthony Joshua?
Right. I mean, I guess I should say he was marketable. My fault. Past
You know,
tense,
like,
man. Because that, I mean, he's been exposed just like Wilder, man. And now we see why they've been keeping him away from the Wilders and from the Furies. You see, but I could see that all day. I saw that all day. I said, they don't. When I first saw, I said, yeah, man. No, I see why they hiding this guy, man.
Well, why do you think they got Eddie Hearn work with him? Because all Eddie Hearn cares about is fighting in deserts, fighting in South Korea, and fighting in different places that don't.
Kids say, "What the hell? Are you serious?" Yeah, dude. I mean, hey, yeah, man. It's I don't even know what to say at this point, man. Where do we now? We got to go back to the lighter weights now, man.
All I know is if I was getting my ass beat by Anthony Joshua and he had me like fucked up, I'm just gonna take my right hand and hit him in his equilibrium and he'd be shaky.
Yeah, you don't even need to do that. You don't even need to do that. You don't even need to do that. D just swing for the fences. You'll connect. He'll go down. He'll take a knee. He'll take a knee even if he is a champion. He'll give you the belts. He won't even see. This is the other thing I think is hilarious and embarrassing for British boxing at the moment. If they class Anthony Joshua as the best thing since sliced bread, the best ever, the best this, the best that, the best root, the best body, the best everything, whatever they want to say. He literally just handed his world titles over to Usyk. Who even knows? What if Usyk doesn't want to have the rematch and he holds all the titles in Germany like Klitschko did? Like, you don't know what's going to happen.
Good point.
So if that happens, then I believe Anthony Joshua should retire from boxing and never show his face ever again.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. At this point, we gotta. It's time to do something else.
Wait, hold on a second though.
Well, hold on, because I know, guys. We've been on here for a couple hours. I'll let you make your last point, man.
One more. I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yo, Coach. So when you guys were saying certain fighters like a Wilder shouldn't retire because of what they did, Anthony Joshua had some wins in the beginning. That was your argument for Wilder, right, Coach? Kangaroo Jack?
Yeah.
So why should Anthony Joshua know what he should do is get in the gym and discover some new abilities?
I just think I'm not being a hypocrite about it, but I think Anthony Joshua should retire if he loses to Usyk on the basis of he's doing the sport no good. We're being protected by Eddie Hearn, fighting in places supporters can't get to, fans can't get to Saudi Arabia. Like the locations that are just hard to get to, and it's impossible to get there. Eddie Hearn and him are worried about money. That's all they care about is money. And if they really want to get technical, I'll place all bets and take all bets from anybody in this chat. You can get my Instagram, Facebook, or whatever. Tyson Fury would wipe the floor with Anthony Joshua 100 million%. Literally. That'll be the biggest embarrassment in sports history by a two-time unified champion.
Yeah, man. And see, this is why we see YouTubers hopping into the game. And you know what's sad about that? That's a whole nother topic in itself. But what is Logan Paul? What did he get? 17 million? Like, these guys are getting bigger paydays than actual boxers, man.
Jake Paul got ridiculous amount. I think he got like 45 or something.
That's the Floyd Mayweather effect. Take advantage of your own business with the art. That's the Floyd Mayweather effect. People are catching on to that.
But you know what? Somebody brought up a good point of that too, because I was like, you really can't, because Floyd wasn't the first to do exhibitions now. However, this type of money though ain't never been thrown around like it is too.
It's like, you don't promote me, I promote me. And
well, he was smart in that part. I mean, and see, that's another point that I give Floyd credit for too, for showing these young guys a blueprint of longevity, number one, but number two, for ownership.
We don't need none of these guys to promote no more. Promote yourself, get in the ring.
But see, he also put in the work too. And what he did was he used that O. That O was his golden nugget, being undefeated. And he leveraged that to get the type of paydays he was getting. And then once he he started his own promotion.
What's Kevin Zane saying?
Game over.
He say, "Fuck the Paul brothers." Listen, you can't say that, sir. Listen, I'm with you on that. I don't really like Jake Paul and Logan Paul, but at the same time, Tyrone just lost.
So hold on, man. We ain't even before we get down that rabbit hole, man. Let me. You know what, Kangaroo Jack, man. We appreciate you, man, for tapping in. Oh, where'd he go? Did I click him out? Oh, we lost Kangaroo, man.
Oh, he was cooking today. He was cooking.
But Coach D, let me get out of here, man. I mean, this was a dope podcast, man. Thank you to Kev too for chiming in, man. And you know us, man. We gonna keep doing this. I'm glad I'm back. You know what I'm saying? Back at it now. We got to get a little bit more regular with these podcasts again, man. And I think I'm streaming here to about 4 or 5 different spots, man. But tell them where they could find you, Coach D, man, before you sign off.
Well, right now you can't find me nowhere but on this man's
I'm talking about your Instagrams and your social media, brother. I mean,
but I tell you what, though. I got a couple things that's about to brew. Trust me on this. Obviously, I've been talking a lot about the deep discussions with D's Nuts. That's going to be a podcast that we're going to touch on a wide range of topics. I got this other podcast that I'm working on. I'm trying to drop it by December. At the end of this or beginning of January 2022. It's called the Little Big Brother Sports and Entertainment Podcast. It's with my little brother. I grew up in the same house, and he's bigger than me, and I'm the big brother. So little big brother, and then he's a little big brother.
Who we talking about, Skinny Mane or the other
Mane? Yes,
Skinny Mane,
no doubt.
So we're gonna be dope.
We talk about football, basketball, things are going on in entertainment, and we debate the hell out of it. So that's going on, and we just. I'm just working with my brother, man. And, we got to give it up to Coach Miyagi, man. I mean, the stuff that he's doing is amazing. I mean, that's why I like to hey, man, we stay connected with my brother. I like the movement he got. So hit the like button and subscribe.
Hit the like button, subscribe to those channels, man. Listen, we didn't look, man. We monetized on the Motivate Experience and on the Boss Certified ENT channels, man. So, we've been at it for a couple of years now. So it's dope to hit those, finally hit those milestones. I got 2 other channels we working on now. But yeah, man, stay tuned. Coach, I mean, I know y'all know me from different names and on my different platform, but it's Big Miyagi Vice, it's Coach Rico Lamar, you dig? And look, man, until next time, we about to get up out of here. I see you, Kev, man. Kev been following my page for a while, man. He's been very active. Cat, man, throughout my social media, so we definitely appreciate all that too, man. And stay tuned for that merch coming soon, man. Woo! If you're looking for some fitness gear right now, don't hit up Motivate fitnessgear.com.
You got the mouthpiece.
And if you hold on, and if you want interested in some of the other content as far as like some of the educational stuff, man, professional, I do some sports reviews as well. Go to the Motive 8 Experience. It's MOTIV, the number 8 Experience YouTube channel, man. Same thing. Motivate by Rico Lamar, Instagram. We got what is it? Official King Vice Versa on IG. Look, we everywhere, man. We are everywhere. We trying to take over this digital thing, man. But as a creative, I'm loving it, man. So I'm gonna continue to bring you guys content, man. So again, stay tuned. Hey, we out of here, man.
Miyagi won.